Hi everyone. I want to talk a little bit about how I managed to keep drawing every single day while maintaining a full-time job and also being a mom to two kids. A lot of my friends and family members ask me this. Where do you find the time? Where do you find the time to do this? And I always say that it's not like I spend a lot of time in art. I really don't. The thing is, a lot of times they don't see drawing, they don't see sketching as a way to relax, but I do. I truly do. A lot of people, when they come back from work, when they put the kids to bed, they unwind in front of a TV, or they read a book, or they go out for a drink. Whatever it is, people don't think that can be replaced by sitting down in front of your desk and make a little drawing. That's actually what I do. So a lot of times the majority of the drawings I would say I make late at night and then just doing doodling. And I do find that I'm really at peace when I'm doing that. When I'm drawing, I'm able to put my mind at ease. I'm able to not think about the stressful day that I had, not think about that conflict, or disagreement I might have had with someone at work that has caused me, unhappiness or whatnot. I don't need to think about any of that. I think a lot of times we realize that we don't need to think about that when we're trying to unwind and relax, but they still come to us. And to be honest, that's what happens to me. The challenge that I have always had in life is that when I want to unwind, when I'm watching a TV, when I'm just trying to cozy up in the couch or on my bed, I think about the unpleasant exchanges I've had in the current day or in the past days or whatever it is. It's those stories that we tell ourselves when our mind wants to be just relaxed. It just all of a sudden pops into your head and you think about it. And I hate that. I don't know about you, but that's one of the things I always struggled with. I've struggled with depression, and it's a lot of times a trigger for those, depressive episodes is because of those stories that I create, and it puts me into this really negative space. But when I'm able to focus on making something in my sketchbook, I'm able to not think about anything else and just focus on the object or the subject that I want to draw. And it makes me feel happy. It makes me feel at ease when I'm focused on that and just focusing on how to improve. How do I make this line less wonky? How do I make this group hatching look and feel better, right? How do I improve my artistic styles? How do I, mix this paint so that it closely resembles the feel that I want to, capture on this piece of painting? Those things go through my head and nothing else. I just focus on the artwork that I'm trying to create. And then magic happens. And then I actually end up finishing something. And I don't even notice the passing of time. I don't notice how long I've sat here, just focus on this piece of artwork that I'm trying to create. By the time I finished, it could be 10 minutes, it could be 20 minutes, it could be 30 minutes, it could be hours. But a lot of times, I feel enormous satisfaction when I look at the work that I've created. And that's why I draw, and that's what keeps me going. And that's why I'm able to have my full-time job, and I'm still keeping up with this habit of drawing every single day. It is something that I find incredibly hard, doing something every single day. It's not easy to start this habit and to keep it going. You always get distracted. you always find something else more important to do throughout the day, or some days you're just, I'm not feeling it. I feel lazy, I feel too tired. There are just other things on my mind that is a little bit more attractive compared to picking up a pencil or a pen and opening my sketchbook and draw something. So one of the concepts I want to share with you, something that I learned over the years, is that as human beings, we always try to come up with really, really ambitious goals for the current year. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard your New Year resolution, right? We tend to make a lot of plans and grand visions for this new year. You know, some people do it after their birthday. They turn a certain age. A lot of people do it after New Year, right? It's a fresh new start. And they have these really ambitious goals for this upcoming year. But I would challenge that instead of thinking of year over year or goals for the year, think of it in terms of short-term goals and long-term goals. So they're a lot more arbitrary, and they're not really specifically tied to a duration. Because one of the things I've observed is that we always tend to overestimate our ability to complete things in the current year. But then we underestimate our ability of what we can accomplish in a much longer duration, say 10 years. If you look back and observe in your life, what have you accomplished in the last 10 years? You're going to be able to name a lot. You know, for people who are much younger than me, they're going to realize, oh my God, I grew much, much taller. I mean, that might not seem much, but that's not something that everyone can say in every 10 years. And for people who are similar in age as me, that's probably the difference between being a fresh grad to a more seasoned, experienced professional. We all experience this growing up of what we can all accomplish in 10 years, and we often underestimate ourselves. There's so much we can accomplish. A lot of people change career. A lot of people, went through different degrees, multiple degrees, and they studied a bunch and gained a lot of certifications, so on and so forth. I can give many, many examples of how people tend to sell themselves short in 10 years' time versus 1 year. And I can also give you a lot of examples where, people have made New Year resolutions about things that they want to accomplish in that current year, and they failed to achieve that. And I think it boils down to expectation. So if you remove that expectation of a particular year, you just stick to long-term and short-term goals, you're going to feel much happier with yourself. What do I mean by long-term and short-term goals, right? I think it all comes down to a simple question that you need to ask yourself. What do you want in life? Right? What do you want in life? What is the ideal life that you want long-term and short-term? What makes you happy long-term and short-term? Because once you're able to figure that out, you've figured out the triggers and the drivers. The triggers are the things that make you start something, okay? So the trigger could be something as simple as when I pick up the pen, I put it down to paper, it makes me feel calm inside. I find peaceful moment when I'm at ease with myself, and I can just not think about other things and just focus on the object that I want to make happen on this piece of paper. Okay, so that could be your trigger. But what are your drivers? The drivers are the things that keeps you going. The drivers are things that help you maintain and keep that habit. And then the other thing that really, really helps me, and I believe will help everyone, is building up a support system. And that could be as simple as developing a routine for yourself. It doesn't have to be, tools or things that you buy or people that you need to have in your life to keep you going. You could figure out a support system that works for you. It could be the ease of access to a particular space. It could be your favorite pen. It could be many, many things. But building up a support system will really help you. And it's kind of that supplementary thing for your driver as well. And lastly, I would say it's the answering the question, how do you know how well you're maintaining that goal? How do you keep track of the goal, right? There needs to be a way to measure it. There needs to be a way to monitor your progress. So that is that last step, that last question you need to ask yourself. How do I know that I'm on the right path? How do I know that I'm getting closer to the goal, short-term and long-term wise? And it could evolve. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think, and thank you for watching.